Well, here we are back in the site of where I won 2 high school city championships. There's just magic that washes over me when I step onto the
Not 1, but 2.
2 city championships. The banners aren't up here. I don't know when they took them down, but it's true. And now I'm about to draw to the button against the Queen of Curling, Colleen Jones. It's on. Put down the gauntlet. Arena ice. This feels like arena ice. Big pressure. Colleen Jones.
Trying to distract me. I'm surprised it's not trash talking. That's what it's doing.
Should be. I can't believe she threw the interim, but she's got to go on it. Look at this. This is looking really good, actually. Where is it?
Not in the house.
Not in the house. I got to hit the rings for the win.
He's laughing. Oh no.
This looks heavy. That magic of those 2 high schools.
Okay, so our score is 1-0.
Are we going there and back?
No, that's it.
We're done.
But the showdown continues.
The showdown continues.
This is a best of 100.
First one to 100.
That's good.
Wow, I can't believe that.
Very well done. Look at that. 1 foot. It's easy.
T-line weight.
You got T-line weight?
It's like riding a bike.
What I had.
I'm done.
Oh, you were amazing.
It's been a dramatic day.
It has been a dramatic day, right to you beating me. We did a poll on that, by the way, on Twitter. 85% of the people thought I would get it, but I just was feeling,
Was it? But we go back to me having that magic touch here at the Granite Curling
that
Club.
2-time high school champion. Listen, speaking of the Granite, we're in the middle of live, so we have to keep our voices down. Semifinals in the juniors. This is a decider to see who's going to go to the World Juniors in March in Sweden. I just want to point out 4 of the 8 teams on the ice are Atlantic Canadians.
Yeah, but there is a Saskatchewan team on the ice. I'm wearing my bunny hug, Colleen. We call it a bunny hug here in Saskatchewan. That's a hoodie, but it is a bunny hug. There's Saskatchewan right now. There's my beautiful.
It's a beautiful, proud to be Saskatchewan. He bleeds green.
Saskatchewan versus Nova Scotia.
It is in the men's side, Saskatchewan versus Nova Scotia. One of the and the other semifinal on the men's side, Newfoundland and Labrador, just scored the big 3. Do you remember? If you were with us the other night, you met Team Young from Newfoundland. As you check out, big shot here from Saskatchewan. It's been a messy house for sure. Not a bad looking shot. There's no score in that
messy
game.
House, no doubt.
Anyhow, we can't forget what we're here for.
I know.
But we will update
we're
you.
gonna keep it on the rails here tonight because, of course, like we said, it's been a dramatic day.
Yeah.
We just came from the Sastel Center, where, of course, Carrie Anderson had it in her hands. Her own destiny loses to Kelsey Rock.
Rock
and
had an amazing
all the
game.
Tie-breaking.
There's a lot of tiebreakers. The only one not in it that could have been in it was Laura Walker, who lost her last game. So the road, let me get it for you.
It is loud in here.
It's loud. Don't you love it? I'm telling you, I've grown up with this noise. I call it the long road.
The long road.
Yeah. And so
Here
it is going to be Scheidegger playing Einerson first off. The winner of that plays McCarville. The winner of that then would play Jones. The winner of that would play Tracy Fleury.
Right, and to give you those times, because I know curling fans wanted to know about the times, we can confirm that Scheidegger and Anderson play at 9. local, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern.
Right.
Winner of that plays McCarville at 2 local, 3 Eastern. Winner of that goes into the semifinal, and they're going to play the men's and women's semifinals, Colleen, at the same time tomorrow night.
Which is important when there's that many tiebreakers to go. But the dominant team right now in the women's, by far, with the next nearest Jennifer Jones with 3 losses, is a perfect 8-0 Tracy Fleury. And we've got a bit of a sizzle reel to show you some of her razzle dazzle. Cool as a cucumber.
So scoring 3, as you see over her shoulder in the second in, and a chance for 3 more here in 6. Final stone, the outturn drop.
Just that she's referring to is to keep it 14-4. To keep it just away from that center path where it starts to slow down.
14-4, and she will score. How about 3 more?
Trying to lock up at least a tiebreaker if she can pull out the win here. In a 6-6 tie, final stone, Tracy Fleury. Can you save it for the skipper? Oh, goodness, you did. Oh, my, what a shot.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And the amazing Tracy Fleury joins us now live on That Curling Show. Those shots you're making are so great, Tracy. I just said you were cool as a cucumber. How do you handle this pressure over and over again?
Hello. Our team tends to be pretty calm under pressure. So yeah, we're just hope to keep that going on Sunday.
Tracy, 8-0. You're only the 2nd women's team ever to go through the Olympic trials undefeated. What does that mean to you and this team? Because I've been reading the headlines, reading the stories. You love flying under the radar, but you can't do that anymore. How did you go undefeated this week?
We do like flying under the radar. But yeah, we're glad to be undefeated, but at this point we just need to kind of forget about that because our job's not done. We still have a big one coming up, so I'd say it definitely helps with our confidence, but we just gotta forget about it now.
Tracy, I wanted to let you know we had the Northern Ontario junior girls team skipped by Isabel Ladouceur, who's actually a Nova Scotian, but they were on the show the other night, and they are so pumped by your performance. How important is it when you come from Northern Ontario and you're able to inspire that entire part of the province? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, that team, they're great girls, and it's nice. In Sudbury, there's a lot of good curling support, so it's nice to always feel that support from back home.
They're playing Nova Scotia right now, by the way. And what is the score over there? 3-1 Northern Ontario. I guess either way, kind of Nova Scotia wins. All right, what do you look when you looked at the crazy tiebreaker scenario? Did you get involved in that a little bit in your head about sort of the drama playing out outside of your team, or were you even aware of what's going on?
I'm just kind of learning what's going on right now. Actually, it sounds like it's going to be a very busy day tomorrow, so it's kind of nice that we can just sit back and relax and watch and just rest up a bit.
I wondered about that, Tracy. You have a bit of a wait now until the biggest game in your career.
Don't tell her that. Don't tell her it's the biggest. You've played big ones before. She's the world #1 right now.
Absolutely. But what do you do from now until then, Tracy? Are you going to be watching? Take us through what the routine looks like from now until just that next game.
Yeah, we'll want to make sure that we're rested, and we'll probably watch some of the games just to see what the ice is doing. And we want to rest, but at the same time, we also want to make sure that we're keeping busy enough to kind of keep our mind off things. So we'll probably do a team activity of some kind.
Yeah, it seems like you guys would always do team activities because you guys seem really tight on the ice and so supportive. Tell me, Sherry Madaw, your coach, who was a big rival of mine through the Scotties life and everything, and she's had a great Olympic trial experience. What does she bring to the table for you, this team?
Yeah, just so much experience, and she's just very calm, I'd say. So I think when moments get tense, she brings that calmness, and she just kind of always knows the right thing to do or say in every moment.
And Tracy, we have to ask you about, of course, Chelsea Carey, who went 8-0 as well 4 years ago in the Olympic trials. You have her on your side. Tell me what perspective and what insight she's bringing to this team as you get ready for this championship game.
Yeah, we're just so grateful to have both Carey and Chelsea on our bench. They just have so much experience, and it's gained a lot of confidence just from having them there. And yeah, Chelsea herself is just a very confident person and knows a lot about strategy. So if there's moments that we're feeling a bit uncertain or indecisive, her confidence really helps us out.
Well, you've been amazing all week, 8-0. Pleasure to talk to you and that you joined us on that curling show. Really excited. I know all of Northern Ontario, all the teams here are just so pulling for you. Is there so many Canadians too? Good luck.
Good luck, Tracy.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you.
Yeah.
She's just so calm in the face of all the pressure she's faced, not just at this championship, but watching her through this early part of the season. We, of course, know she skipped the Scotties last year, and Chelsea skipped that team so that she could stay home with her young baby. And this year, they have just been over and over and over again making every shot that matters. And the team play and the support they have looks terrific.
They have played 43 games this year. They've won 38 of the 43 games they've played. That's incredible, Colleen.
It is really incredible. And that's why they're ranked world #1 right now.
As it gets quiet in the Granite Curling Club.
It got very quiet.
We were talking about the drama earlier today.
Yeah.
Carrie Einarson controlled her own destiny going up against Kelsey Rock. You know, Einarson and that team didn't want to get in that situation.
No
They had a
kidding.
big shot in the game, Colleen.
They did.
Earlier today, an in-off.
Yeah.
We're going to see it in a second. It's a tough
in-off is
shot.
a bit of a theme for us today on the show.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
Now you hold your breath. Oof. Never a good feeling.
Well, Rock is decision made. Elected to take away the draw. Here we go. Right now it's a stolen point for Rock. Staying with it. No, nothing. 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 No, coming across. Coming across. Kick it. Oh, and not far enough. It will be a steal of one. Kelsey Rock.
So close. Just had to curl up a little more.
That is such a tough shot.
It is a tough shot. And as I said, we'll have more on how tough that in-off is. It just is wrong side of the inch sometimes, or maybe you needed to throw it a little bit harder. And there were other things in that game that that wasn't necessarily the turning point, although it was a big one. But that's why Carey suddenly in the long road of tiebreakers with the 4-4 club.
And you know what I kept seeing on Twitter when that shot was happening? Everybody talking about the great Sandra Schmirler shot in 1997. And of course, here in Saskatchewan, we all remember that shot in 97 in Brandon.
Everybody remembers it everywhere. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The shot heard around the world.
No kidding.
Let's
watch that one because it was a thing of beauty and magic that day.
All right.
There's absolutely no room for error here.
No. She has to hit a quarter of it. She hits a half of it, she's going to come over the face of the front one in the forefoot. She hits it too thin, she's going to hit the back one.
No. Close. Close. Whoa. Whoa. Close. Whoa. Whoa. No. Whoa. Close. Yes! Whoa. Whoa.
What a shot for three!
All right.
What a great shot!
Okay,
Now that is an Olympic curling shot.
Okay. Let's hang in there. Good shot. Okay, you guys.
What relief on the face of Sandra Schmirler.
Okay, let's get back to the
Great call by Jan Betker. Great throw by Sandra Schmirler. And look at the result.
Okay, take a deep breath.
Right on the nose.
I can some water.
It doesn't get any better than that.
I visualize it. I saw it. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go.
That may be the shot of the week at these Olympic trials in
Okay,
Brandon.
let's calm down, you guys. We're back
As
in this
Sandra
thing, okay? We're in the
Schmirler,
driver's seat.
after 7,
Good
leads
shot.
by 2.
I saw it too, man. I saw it. Throw those wires over here, baby.
I love that. I love how they had to calm themselves down because they knew with that shot, they pretty much had the game against Shannon Clyde-Brink won, and they were Olympic bound, the very first Olympics in 1998. So that shot is so legendary in curling folklore. We decided to show you how hard it is. You remember Carrie tried that in-off, so you got an idea of how hard. We've watched a lot of in-offs not work out. So here we are earlier today on center ice, recreating the magic. Recreating the legend Sandra Schmirler's famous Olympic trial shot.
Hold on, I got it here.
What a shot! That is an Olympic curling shot.
Could take me a few takes. Don't hit me. Okay, this is a little center. This should be.
I think I dragged your bee up a little bit this way.
Sandra only got one crack at it. But, you know, see how hard this shot is. I get the yes! I need to make a curl, Deb.
Oh my gosh.
We are so close.
This is a 1. Watch.
Those are the Nova Scotia boys that said, you probably need us to hold it or curl it or something. So thank you. Now they're out playing in the semifinal.
We needed
the
sweepers
McCusker and
for sure.
Weagle. Hard
really,
shot, though.
really hard
I only made
shot.
it for 2.
You only made it for 2, and it
Rings
just goes to
were
show
slow.
you how brilliant that shot was under that pressure. A team shot, right?
Very much a team shot, because you even said it's hard to call
it's hard, the line call, the sweeping, the weight, everything. And guess what?
We've got one of the players, our dear friend Joan McCusker, is with us to talk about the pressure of that shot. Plus, of course, she's here coaching the Casey Scheidegger rink. So we're going to ask about this incredible journey as well. Joni, how are you?
I'm pretty good now. That was quite a crazy day that we had.
Yeah, really.
But really happy.
Tiebreakers. Love those tiebreakers. We just showed the dramatic shot from the 97 trials. I mean, you were there. Tell us, I'm sure you've seen it a million times, but it is just locked in everybody's mind. What was that like to be sweeping it, the drama of the moment, the nerves, and then having to settle back down?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have to remember that we had missed 7 shots in a row, right? Which was so unlike us, and we were in some trouble. And so we finally, I had already resolved that we were going to give up a steal. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, well, we're going to give up 1, and then we're going to be 2 down playing 8. We're going to get 2. We're going to force them to 1, and we're going to win in 10. So that was. I'd already said that out loud to Marcy before Sandra came down. And so Sandra comes down and she sees this shot, and we didn't go down the ice and we didn't know, what was available. And I say, what do we got here? Can we even get 1? And she goes, oh yeah, we can get 3, she says. And we went, oh. And then I say, okay, well, give it a chance. Meaning like, let's hit the broom so we can, let's like focus, like we can do this. And she was really quiet. She always talked about how she She visualized it ahead of time. She could see us making it. And afterwards, it was a real deja vu thing for her, that when we actually made the shot and started screaming and jumping up and down and celebrating, Sandra actually started to kind of hyperventilate because she was freaked out that she kind of saw us doing it ahead of time. So it was one of those big visual moments. And the very famous saying from Jan was, "Calm down, stop celebrating. We got 3 ends to play." And she was absolutely right.
How hard was that to do?
Yeah, it was hard to kind of refocus, but we had a very good, we had a lot of respect for Shannon Clybrink and our opposition. So I appreciated Jan being that person, because, guess what? You get 3. A lot of times in this game, you give up 3 right back. And so we had to regroup pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Joan, you of course went on in that legendary run to win the first ever gold medal for Canada at the Olympics, and now here you are in another Olympic battle as a coach for Scheidegger. What a roller coaster it was this afternoon. I think those are probably letters of support behind you, but what has this been like? What is the mindset of the team now? Because you guys are still in this thing, Joan.
Well, the team is they're just a joy to be around, because they're got a great attitude, and they really have a wonderful team dynamic, and they are humans first and really good people to each other first, and then they're an amazing curling team. So we know that we're taking advantage of this opportunity. We've had ups and downs this week. It hasn't been the most consistent week for Team Scheidegger. But I'm so proud of them for digging down deep and being accountable and fixing things that needed to be fixed as we went along the way. So we are definitely joyous of our finish today. We played the best game of the week today against Rachel Homan. So coming in with some wonderful momentum to play Carrie Anerson tomorrow morning in the first tiebreaker. So we're prepared to play 3 tomorrow. No problem. Tiebreaker, semifinal.
I bet you that does not surprise me. Joan, how's the adjustment for you been? And I know you've coached before, but from being at the Olympic trials and the Olympics and now behind the bench, what's the adjustment for you as one of the greatest second stones ever?
It's hard to watch. Can I tell you that? It's I'd rather be playing, but knowing that, I'm old and my body doesn't want to let me do that anymore. This is just the next best thing. And as you know, Paulie, in the broadcast booth, it's really fun, but I love being on the ice with the team as a coach. And I know there's sometimes I have no control at all. And I'm just there to, try to support the girls. And there's sometimes that, you have little moments of brilliance, and you can give them something that might inspire them to turn the momentum around in the game. So I'm loving coaching, absolutely loving. It's a good fit for me right now with this team at this time in my life. So loving it.
Nice. And I know you're the most inspirational person on the planet because I've roomed with you and hung out with you. But are those quotes of inspiration behind you from maybe Casey's school, or, without giving away, is Mo Mums? You're not going to tell us, are you?
We did a lot of work in the last year during COVID. We listened to a lot of high performance podcasts, a lot of guest speakers, a lot of wonderful inspirational stuff. And it's just some of the things that we picked up along our learnings of self-awareness and self-improvement and a feedback-rich environment. That's what we're working for.
I love that. Listen, Joan, I know you're going to be interested in this because Saskatchewan is playing Nova Scotia in the men's semifinal here at the juniors. And Nova Scotia is leading 2-0. And let's see, that's in the 6th end. Saskatchewan has the hammer. I just thought you'd like to know that. Devin and I have a bet. Listen. Yeah, we're going to be following all of your games tomorrow, and it's just going to be quite a day. No one loves tiebreakers more than Devin, so this is his dream has come true, basically. And that their games aren't at midnight, that's another dream.
That's another nice thing. Yeah, Joan, it's always wonderful to see you. And of course, I've told you many, many times how much you and your team has meant to me personally in this province. And it's always great having you on the show.
He's
Thanks for having
fanboying.
me, guys.
See you, Joan.
Take
Now,
care.
you know, yeah. We did
Good
have
luck,
a second
Joan.
to talk to Casey Scheidegger after the a game, and of course she is thrilled to pieces that what happened that Rock beat Einerson to keep them alive. We saw McCarville high five in the stands with her teammates because she's actually got the first bye based on records and such. I think we've got the clip of Casey that we can show probably. Here's Casey after the game.
It's thrilling, really. I have to thank our friends from Alberta, Kelsey Rock, for helping us out there. So that was very kind of them. Yeah, we're really excited to keep playing.
How hard was it not to keep scoreboard watching on that sheet?
It was hard. We were glancing over every once in a while, but our game was pretty tight, so we had to stay focused too.
What does this mean to you to make the tiebreakers?
Tiebreaker. Let's call it playoffs. It means a lot. I mean, especially we've had some ups and downs this week, so it's nice to finish strong with a win and then hopefully get some more wins in the tiebreakers.
How busy a day might it be? How busy a day do you hope it is for you tomorrow?
I'm thinking it's going to be pretty busy, especially if Laura wins here. So we're going to rest up, go to bed at 7 p.m. and get lots of sleep and get ready for a whole whirlwind of tiebreakers.
By the way, I love the Colleen Jones gum.
Oh, thank you.
It could be a very long day. Rest up.
Yeah, no kidding. I love that they're going to bed at 7, but probably not 7
Probably
sharp.
not.
But because
They have men's games to watch tonight.
they might not watch those games. They might just look at whatever inspirational quotes Joan had behind them to
Awesome.
remind themselves that they can be great in this moment and to remind them to stay in the moment. One shot, one game at a time. Long road for them, right?
Long road, but they're not out of it.
That's
Let's
the main
update
thing.
these scores.
Yes, the
We've got
juniors
some
have the
great
chance to
shots.
go to the World Juniors. And I always say the poor juniors, because of COVID, were hard done by when everything was canceled at the very prime of their junior career.
Right, so let's get some scoring updates. Newfoundland and Labrador in one of the men's semifinal, a 3-2 Newfoundland and Labrador lead. They're looking over at us as we update their scores. In that Nova Scotia-Saskatchewan game, Saskatchewan picking up 1 in the 6th, 2-1 Nova Scotia with hammer calling.
Yeah, exactly. And over on the women's side, New Brunswick is playing Alberta. I got to do the addition on this. 2 + 3 is 5 + 1 is 6. 6-3. Alberta leading New Brunswick. And where's Nova Scotia, Northern Ontario? Northern Ontario's up 4-1 now after scoring an important deuce in 4 and then stealing 1 in 5, playing Taylor Stevens.
How good is that?
That's really
Front
good.
row seat to all of this. And you know, one thing we should say, the poise we've seen from these teams.
It's incredible. All of these teams are very well coached. And these are volunteers at their curling club. Interesting for Newfoundland and Labrador, they've got Jerry Adams from here in Saskatchewan. He lives, what did he tell me, a 2 or 3 hour drive away from here, because their coach is actually Jeff Thomas.
That's right.
Who is coaching Brad Gushu. So he was double booked. He's double booked.
He had that other bond spirit
But I know
to
the
attend.
time the coaches spend. I know I watch Mary Matitol, who coaches the Nova Scotia team, Taylor Stevens. She's out there all the time. It's a devotion.
It
that
is.
almost makes me cry.
Yeah.
Because now Joan McCusker's giving back in that same way.
Right.
And there's just so many talented volunteer coaches that need to be saluted across this country.
Growing the game, and it all builds. And of course, we had a chance. We've been talking to the curlers at the other arena
For their
about
advice.
some advice they have. And here's Jennifer Jones.
Well, here we are.
A little bit about some of the
That was
advice.
you.
That was
Your
me.
face just
Some
showed
advice to the
Big
juniors.
time.
Let's take a look.
What advice do you have for the juniors that are playing here this week to try to get to the World?
Just to enjoy it, soak up the moments. Like, I know as a junior, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to learn and get better. And if you enjoy it and you're not scared to lose, you're going to have so many more wonderful memories and you're going to make so many more shots.
Well, if you want to take my road, you just get on with really good skips, seconds and thirds, and then you get to play in these fancy events when you're not that good of a curler like me. But I mean, I don't think it's the secret isn't anything else in any other sports. Honestly, you gotta love it. You gotta be passionate about it. You gotta put in a lot of time and practice. And if you do all those things, you're probably gonna have some success. Just like in anything in life, curling's no different. I wish I had a magic recipe for you, but I don't.
I loved what Ben said. Hook yourself up with a really good skip like he did. Little deprecation there. But one thing that all of the curlers at the Olympic trials are saying over and over again to the junior players, practice, practice, and then practice some more, and love it.
We heard that a lot, didn't we?
We did.
Speaking of practice, that's actually a wonderful segue,
Thank
Colleen,
you.
because we are going south of the border.
Oh, yes.
And we are going to a curling practice, as I understand it, right now. And I have the wonderful opportunity of meeting our next guest, Deb Martin, at the curling club practicing. Deb, wonderful to see you. Where are you right now? Because you're in the middle of practice.
Yes, I am coming to you from the Plainfield Curling Club in Plainfield, South Plainfield, New Jersey. Can you hear me okay? And there's my people in the back.
Yay!
Oh my God.
Nice to see your people in the background.
And my team, we're all getting ready to play.
So tonight's practice nice?
It is practice tonight because this group of us is going to go to the regional playdowns for the GNCC regional playdowns to try to get to club nationals.
Nice. Nice. Give me an idea of how big curling is at your curling club and through New Jersey.
I would say, well, in New Jersey, we are the only dedicated curling club in New Jersey. We are two-sheeter with dedicated ice, but there is another arena club that curls south of here called Pinelands Curling Club. And this region, just generally in the Northeast, we have the Philadelphia Curling Club. I believe you met some of my friends from Philadelphia Curling Club, Nancy GBDH and her friends from the Margarita. And we have Bucks County Curling Club out of Pennsylvania as well. So it's pretty big, I would say. And those of us that are into it are all the way into it.
No kidding. No kidding. Even the people at the Margarita Curling Club, which is a virtual club where you get to drink margaritas on the side.
Yes, we have several members that curl out of Plainfield also are part of that Margarita Curling Club as well.
Yeah, I love hearing about that passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Deb, talk about your passion because I know how passionate you are. Take us through your journey in the curling world and what you're trying to do to change the game, because I do believe you're a game changer.
Oh, well, thanks, Devin. So my passion for curling started after the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. Like so many people, I came to the sport late in life, but vis-a-vis the Olympics. And once I latched onto it, it was no looking back. So my wife and I have been curling since then, and we curl as much as possible, wherever possible. So we love to do bonspiels. We also curl 3 nights a week here at our home club, 3 different leagues. One of those is mixed doubles because we love that as well. So yeah, we're all in. But as far as I guess what I'm up to now in curling, I'm a member of the advisory board for United We Curl, which was founded by Goldline, and I am one of the broom designers. My broom is specifically the Black Curl. Oh, there you go, Black Curl Magic. And here in the States, south of the border for you guys, I'm also working with United States Curling Association on their diversity, equity, inclusion efforts vis-a-vis the Icebreakers program, which our mission statement is to elevate the sport within communities of color and to help change the face of curling there too.
Wow. And how is that going, by the way, when you reach out and try to bring in, some diversity into the sport?
I think so far so good. I would have to be honest though and say it's kind of new. Like given the fact that we're coming out of the COVID year where so much of our administrative efforts happened, that is really, we're kind of in the first season where we can actually put some of that, I guess, rubber to the road. And I think it's going well. We've got a lot of people who are in spirit really supportive of our initiatives and want to see it go well. So it's really just being bolted on to what we were already doing. So clubs that were already helping to elevate the sport and do outreach are now just being more intentional about the communities we go and speak to or go and present the sport to. So it's not a whole lot has changed. It's just making sure that we're opening the conversation to the greatest number of people.
So nice. And I know Andrew Paris in Nova Scotia, who is also on the broom design team too, is trying to do his part in Nova Scotia and through Canada. By the way, is that the broom beside you?
Oh, it is. This is my Black Curl Magic broom. This is what I did during the pandemic, I guess. So yes, that's my broom design. And you're right. So I know Andrew
everybody
and Graydon both participated. And Andrew's initiative actually is very much like Icebreakers. It's the Black Rock initiative, which is like furthering, I think, what we're trying to do and get more specific and intentional about the type of outreach that we're doing.
So awesome. Did you love that when I said to her, is that the broom right beside you? Because I didn't know. Have you convinced Bruce Springsteen to join your New Jersey curling club yet, by the way?
No, but we have had John Schuster here at least once. And actually, I don't know if you can see all the way in the back there, that signed jersey is signed by the Olympians, John Schuster and team. They came through to the New York. Yeah, in the New York, I think if I put my finger right there, the New York metro area, they came to the New York, the Curl, New York City, and a lot of us went there and got to meet them. And back in 2010, when I first started, they actually spent some time here at Plainfield with Stephen Colbert actually curling on the ice. So it's the fact that we're so close to New York. I think we get a lot of drive-by traffic, people who want to try it here at Plainfield.
Nice. Yeah,
it's awesome.
And I'm not surprised that somebody with a Twitter handle @CurlingChicks would prefer to have a John Schuster jersey than Bruce Springsteen show up at the club. Nice of you to join us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome to see you. Yeah, thanks for doing this. Black Curl Magic.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Game changer, as you say. So good.
Take care, Deb.
Thanks. Nice talking to you.
Down in New Jersey. Full club there. Yeah, good talking to you. Get out there and practice, Deb.
Practice.
Now it's hot stove time. We always love this because there's some hot topics.
It is hot stove time, and we call them the curling reporters of Canada.
They also sing well and play the guitar.
At the karaoke and the guitar, absolutely. And they sit in the front row of the media bench at the SaskTel Center, and all of them are here. We have Jason Bell, Greg Strong, Ted Wyman. Of course, they're hard at it at the arena. Why don't we go to you, Ted, first? What sticks out to you, Ted? Because it's been a roller coaster so far.
Well, obviously, Devin, the thing that sticks out most is just what happened today, and that's that, Carrie Anderson loses a huge game, and we end up with tiebreakers. I know how much you love them, Devin, so it's pretty going to make it for a pretty exciting last couple of days here as we have all kinds of teams still in the mix. And of course, on the men's side, you've seen just this absolute emergence to the top from Brad Gushu and Brad Jacobs, who've been two of the best all along, and they're looking like they're going to battle it out again.
Jason, what about that showdown that Carrie had? And if she wins, she's in, and instead there's this whole series of tiebreakers. What is it? Are you already looking at maybe a 4-4 team might emerge and beat an 8-0 team in the final? Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, first I want to know why Ted looks like he has tans and I'm anemic. I don't get this. I look like I haven't been in the sun. I haven't been in the sun in ages. but I have to be honest. I did do something that you're never supposed to do as a reporter. I wrote my lead in the first end that this was going to be the Manitoba trifecta, and massive jinx move for Carrie. She's probably cursing you right now. But we just talked about this, how a team could go 8-0 and potentially have one bad end, Colleen, on Sunday, and lose an opportunity to go to Beijing to a team that's got 4 losses. And I guess on the surface that just seems like crazy, but that's the situation we now find ourselves in. And you wonder if the team that gets rolling tomorrow and maybe gets hot and knocks over Jennifer Jones in the semifinal continues that roll the very next morning against a Fleury team that might like the rest, but then you also wonder how they're going to respond to that long layoff off the ice.
Greg, what do you make of the curling? Colleen and I have talked about the fact that there have maybe been at most a handful of games that were really riveting, but outside of that, we saw a lot of blowouts.
Well, there were a lot of riveting games, but then it always seemed like 2 games always finished earlier, where you knew it was over early.
Yeah, it's great to be on with all of you again and see you live here in this setting, live curling. And we were chatting about this the other day.
True.
How the last time we were all together covering a spiel, it was the Briar in Kingston 18 months ago or whatever it was. And the curling was incredible. It was like a main storyline. It was just how strong it was. This trials experience has not been that good. And certainly the pandemic has been a factor there. But there have only been really a handful of draws where we have seen top shelf curling. Not for lack of effort, it just hasn't been there. And today, this afternoon, was really a really interesting draw, but that has been the rarity, I'd say, so far here at the trials.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's go ahead to the men's draw, and Ted, let's begin with you. There is still some drama on the men's side, isn't there? Especially because of the Gushue-McEwen game and the ramifications of Jacobs and Horgan and maybe first place on the line, depending on what happens there.
Well, absolutely. That's a game where both teams have an awful lot on the line because Gushue can clinch first place if he gets that win and a bye to the final, and I'm sure he wants that. And Mike McEwen is not completely out of this thing. He's not in great shape because he needs a Kevin Cooey loss to John Epping, but should that happen, and we just saw Carrie Anderson lose in a similar situation on the afternoon draw, then perhaps Mike McEwen still can get into a tiebreaker. So expecting a barn burner. I love the fact, I covered Mike McEwen when I was a reporter at the Brandon Sun back in the 90s, and he was a junior, and he was clashing with Brad Gushue then as well. And here we are all these years later, and they're doing it again with a chance, potentially to get to the Olympics on the line down here. So it's just years and years and years of great rivalry, and we get to see it again tonight.
Jay, what do you make of what's going to happen? Ted set it up beautifully. What do you make? Sorry, Greg. Do you want to jump in and then we can go to Jay? Go ahead, Greg, and then we'll go over to Jay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I was just keen to mention that one interesting storyline that has developed here is that with the tiebreaker scenario that's on tap tomorrow, we're going to have 2 evening semifinals tomorrow night. And a big question is, who's going to be on TV? Obviously, they'll show the highlights of the other semifinal throughout that game, but what's going to be the feature game? Interesting question, and I think they'll wait until this evening's draw to see which is the better matchup, but that's an interesting decision, and one that TSN has yet to answer. It put out some emails and texts to some TSN folks. Haven't heard yet what their plan is on that.
Mm-hmm. That is a good point.
That is a very good point.
Yeah. Okay, Jay, did you already write the lead on this about a Manitoba trifecta or something similar on the men's side? You didn't jinx anything there.
Got a blank slate right now, so we've got a lot of work to do at deadline tonight. And Mike McEwen has had a habit of bouncing back this week, so we'll have to see. But Brad Gushue they look rock solid, obviously, and that's going to be a real tough test for them. And he's lost the control of his own destiny, as they say, that great cliche, because he has to be worried about Kevin Cooey as well. And you anticipate Kevin Cooey losing tonight? I certainly don't, and I think the 2 Brads and Kevin Cooey were maybe what most of us would have picked for the 3 left standing heading into the playoffs, and that could very well shake out. And I know all the Manitobans right now are spitting on their television sets at Jay Bell for saying that, but that's just kind of the way it looks to me.
How surprising is it, Greg, about who's not in it? Mostly Team Holman actually finishing last in the standings on the women's side, and Brier champ Brendan Botcher out of it as well. Is that a shocker?
Yeah, I was just going to say, who had Rachel Holman going 2-6, finishing last in these trials? I mean, it's really interesting. And also, I mean, with a lot of the teams now out of it, it's the new quad for a lot of them. And it'll be fascinating to see what happens over the coming days, weeks, as to where teams go from here. Could we see some lineup changes? We've seen in previous quads that it doesn't take long for, the foundation to be laid for other teams to kind of look ahead for the 26 games, but that will start soon.
How about a shout out, guys, to the Kelsey Rock team for coming in and winning here this afternoon against Carrie Anderson. I mean, they really threw a wrench into everything, and you could tell right from the night before, just the way that they were talking on social media, that it would really mean something to them to play spoiler and to have an effect on these standings, and they went out and did it. And there's a lot of teams thanking them right now, and they're going to be owing them a beer.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful point, Ted, because you saw Scheidegger and the Rock team having a really nice moment after that game, and you can imagine what they were saying. Like you said, there are probably a few drinks and dinner to serve up as well.
Yeah, certainly never the same pressure on the team that's playing spoiler and the team like Anderson who has everything on the line. And
we should get predictions. We should get predictions from these guys.
Okay, let's start with Jay.
Jay Bell, you start. Predictions.
I'm writing them down.
Oh, what we think is going to happen the rest of the way, starting right now for both sides. You're writing this down, Colin.
Yep.
Good.
Yes.
Well,
quote.
I'm going to. I think that, as I said before, I think the two Brads and Kevin Cooey are going to make the playoffs. And I am going to. I'm changing my vote from the original part of the week. I said Brad Gushue, but Brad Jacobs looks like he is a man possessed. He's driven, and I think he'll make the much-awaited return to the Olympics. On the men's side and on the women's team, on the women's side, it's been a bit of a shock to the system to see how well Tracy Fleury's group has handled this pressure. We can't say enough what kind of season they've had, but we keep wondering if maybe it's at some point the Cinderella story would come to an abrupt end, and it hasn't. So I'm also changing my original vote from Carrie Anderson to Tracy Fleury for some motivation.
I got teased a little bit by
Greg,
Ted Wyman. Yeah, I got teased a little bit by Teddy there. He didn't like my Krista McCarville pick early on, and it wasn't looking good. But it is back in play. Absolutely. So I'm sticking with Krista and Brad Gushue in the men's. Yeah. I mean, Krista, there's no pressure on her.
I forgot you're bold.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit, Greg. You had it from the very beginning, and you're sticking to it. And I'm going to stick to my original one as well. And, of course, that's an easy one because I picked Tracy Fleury from the very beginning, and she's 8-0 through to here, hasn't done anything to look like she's not going to win it. And I'll also stick with Kevin Cooey. I know he's going to be an awfully tough against the two Brads, assuming he even gets to the playoffs because he's still got some work to do. But the experience there is outstanding. John Morris, the addition to that team, makes them so incredibly good. And here's one thing, Devin and Colleen, that I wanted to bring up. If Kevin Cooey does make the final here, or make it into the playoffs, I should say, you're going to have 3 skips who've already been to the Olympics, and 9 of the 12 players on the ice in the playoffs will have already been to the Olympics. How much does experience count in this thing?
Counts.
Wow. Outstanding, Ted. That's why we go to all of you guys. You are the pros. The band's back together, and more than anything, it's awesome to be in the same arena covering curling with all of you. Thank you so much, you guys. We'll see you at the rink tonight.
Thanks, guys.
It's true, Greg Strong did have Krista McCarville, and I was like, really? You're going with Krista?
Well, and that's absolutely right. Everyone was giving him a bit of a hard go about McCarville, but that was the thing you said. She was trending in the right direction.
Her
did
stats
what she
went way
did.
up towards,
She got that 4th win, and now she's in a situation where if you just keep winning, you're going to the Olympics.
We never would have thought 4 and 4 would be alive though at this stage, but it's very much alive. Just to update the scores here before we leave you.
Yes.
It is everybody's blocking the scoreboards on me. That's what it is. I don't want to yell at them to move.
I see a 4-1 score, and Northern Ontario leading Nova Scotia.
3-3 Ontario in Newfoundland, and again tied with Newfoundland and Labrador, and they are playing in the 7th end. 6-4 for Alberta over New Brunswick in the other women's semifinal.
And do we have a Saskatchewan Nova Scotia score? Because you and I have dinner on the line.
There's dinner on it. There's a lot on the line here. I'm telling you, it's a sea of green now in front of that scoreboard.
We're going to stick with this until we get a score, because I think the last few rocks here are coming in that end column.
We'll do that while we also tell you about the lineup for tonight on the men's side for the Olympic trials this final day. It's going to be Jacobs versus Horgan. And so Jacobs still hoping that if he gets a Gushue loss, they might get the...
A Jacobs win, a Gushue loss, Jacobs with a direct ticket to the final.
Right, and Gushue's playing McEwen. And as I think it was Jay that said, McEwen's one of those teams that when the back's up against the wall, bounces back and plays well. Epping and Cooey can't afford to lose another game, really, especially if McEwen wins.
Right, a Cooey win puts him into the playoffs. He can avoid all the drama, but there could be a tiebreaker between McEwen and Cooey if McEwen wins and Cooey loses.
Yeah, and Gunlickson plays Dunstone in the other one, and both of those teams are out, but doesn't the crowd always go wild when Gunner is in the hack ready to throw a high, hard one?
Yeah,
he could make that Sandra
and it's
Schmirler
been also nice to see the local crowd cheering on Dunstone. It just hasn't been their week, and we talked about losing Braden Moskowy, and it really, you have to say, Colleen, affected the team this week.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. You can't. And Colton Lott played amazing. My goodness, I think he was the top third for the week, or near the top. Nova Scotia's leading Saskatchewan 2-1. This is really incredible to see these junior players in action. They've all been motivated by, some of them went to watch the Olympic trials. This is the future of the sport. The winner of this event, the finals tomorrow, goes on to the World Junior Championships in Sweden. And I'm so excited they're back and playing.
It is awesome.
COVID cost them a lot of time.
And they were out here earlier today, Colleen, practicing, and you just saw how much this meant to them. And I also love the fact that this is happening in the same city where the Olympic trials are happening, because you really get that fire, you get that feeling, because right here you literally drive down the street to take that next step up to the Olympic trials. So it's all happening to watch that, right?
Yeah. Anyhow, they're playing great, and we'll tweet later who
we'll
wins
tweet
these
the
games.
scores, and I'll let you know if Saskatchewan,
Nova Scotia, 2 Nova Scotia teams out there, just 1 Saskatchewan team. That's interesting.
Okay, we need to go.
We need to go.
Do we
Okay,
want to watch this?
tomorrow?
It looks like there's a timeout here, a big moment in this game.
Okay, timeout can take a while. Nova Scotia's out there deciding.
You know what?
Owen
Let's do it. Let's watch the end of this end. There's only, I think, 3 rocks left.
Okay.
I think it's outstanding. We can call this, Colleen.
We're going to be live play-by-play.
We're going to do live play-by-play on that curling show on a Friday night, the semifinals of the junior qualifier.
Nova Scotia's sitting 1. But that's a Saskatchewan red rock in front of it. And then almost frozen is another Nova Scotia rock, all of them about 6 inches apart, guarded by a Saskatchewan rock in the top of the 12-foot.
And here's the thing, many people right now tuning in might be wondering about the time. I believe they put a certain allotted amount of time on the clock.
Yeah, I think it was 2 hours and 45 minutes because all of the umpires are busy at the all of the volunteers, I should say.
The trials.
All of the volunteers are at the trials. This ice was nice to play on. Two-time high school champ Devin LaRue was playing on
I
it
had
earlier.
my draw weight. I hit the T line. Maybe they want me to suit up.
Yeah. And Newfoundland Labrador is playing outside in, out turn, hit over here.
And we should give a
3
shout out
rocks left
to Jenna here, who's on the camera following all of this action.
Okay, Nova Scotia's playing a run back against Saskatchewan.
And you can see, the top area is filled, all the parents back there.
Usually in junior curling, the parents are, here comes the shot. It's a run back. We'll duplicate the shot another day. Maybe it was a straight peel. The parents, by the way, are usually on the ice, but because of COVID, they have to stay upstairs together.
That's right.
And usually there's no fans like curling parent fans. They come with more noisemakers than you even
there
thought.
There are cowbells in there. There
the
are
moose
rough
calls,
riders. There's rough rider pom-poms in there.
The parents give a lot like the coaches. Oh, I might cry.
It's outstanding. There's only a couple rocks left in the end, I believe. I'm invested here.
Dinner's on the line. He's got a Saskatchewan. He just wants me to buy him dinner at this stage. Okay.
Oh, and
so
producer Self is going, what's going on
you know
here?
what's happening now? Saskatchewan. We've never done this. Maybe we're going to get the call to do play-by-play.
We might.
Saskatchewan's going to throw a little guard here. Yeah, he's throwing a guard for all their life.
Emotions are running high here. These are the last 2 stones. I believe we're in is that the 8th end, 7th end?
7th end. We're in the 7th end.
So Saskatchewan just putting up a guard right here. And what does Nova Scotia have left on their last, leading 2-1 with Hammer in this semifinal game?
This is the last draw coming up. I think all they've got is, they're looking at a way to score 3, but I think all they've got is the draw. So here comes Owen Purcell, the skip for Nova Scotia.
They blanked the first 4 ends of this game, Colleen, and doesn't that just tell you how much is on the line, right?
Yeah, it does. It may be a cautious start, but we missed the first 2 ends because we were at the trials, so we didn't see them. These teams can throw a lot of weight. And so there could be no different than when Gunlickson makes everything in the house disappear. These guys can do that too. Little trickier on curling club ice, I got to tell you.
As Julia Evans comments and says, we're going to be calling games in a few years.
Of these guys.
For sure. You did say that on the way back here there's a chance we'll be interviewing them at the Brier and the Scotties and perhaps the Olympics as we get set for the last rock here in the 7th, Colleen.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia
Okay,
looking
we'll see
to
if they
add to their tally.
How nervous are you, Devin? Very nervous.
Very nervous
He's
because
very
you're buying me
nervous.
dinner.
Okay, let's see.
Looks like they really
line.
have to go on this one.
Hard line. We have no angle on this at all. Oh, it's got to sit. Wow.
What a great draw.
What a
and
shot.
Look at the fans from
For
Nova
two.
Scotia.
Oh,
they're waving the
their
flag.
flags. That's so nice.
Wow, they
Wow.
teach that draw weight in Nova Scotia.
I just was missing it today. That's 4-1 Nova Scotia leading. Dinner's looking, well, it ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over, but this show is over.
We'll
It's
see you
been
tomorrow.
So much fun.
We already
We'll keep
went long.
We'll
Poor
keep you
Sophie.
updated on all the
We're
scores.
in trouble.
Semifinal, tiebreaker Saturday tomorrow. It's all happening.
It's happening. It's happening. And the drama of tiebreakers, you got his wish.
We're
See you
out of
tomorrow.
here. Enjoy curling, fans.